Power test harness number 1, UZPH1 is the part number, works with GE, Regal-Beloit, or GENTEQ models 2.0, 2.3, 2.5, and 3.0, and possibly some future ones. Those power harnesses are characterized by a 5-pin power connector that is polarized because there are flats on the two outside connectors of this. For the 2.0, 2.3, and 2.5 motors, they plug in right above the 16-pin signal harness. For the 3.0 motors, they plug in right above the 4-pin signal harness. They have squeeze tabs on the side to disconnect them from those motors. Let's talk about the specific wiring on these motors. Every motor that this fits, the 2.0, the 2.3, the 2.5, and the 3.0s, can be run at either 110 or 220 volts, depending on the configuration of 2 of the pins on this harness. The last 2 pins are considered a jumper. If the 2 pins are connected together to each other, they're quick connects. And if they're connected to each other, you must run the motor at 110 volts. If they're not connected, you can only run the motor at 220. We provide you with some safety caps so that there's no chance of getting shocked with any of the loose connectors that aren't used in the jumper wires. The jumper wires are typically red and orange. Remember, you only connect them together for 110 volt power supplies. A lot of people have a hard time understanding that concept. Any of these series of motors can be run at either 110 or 220, depending on if you jumper this together or not. The 3 wires that remain are your safety ground, which has to be connected to a good electrical ground, your black wire, which is always connected to a hot, whether it be 110 or 220, and the white wire, if it's connected to 110, has to be connected to neutral electrical, or if it's connected to 220, has to be connected to the other hot. So you'll always have either 115 or 220 across these 2 wires, and this will be your safety or electrical ground. When you provide power to a motor with this harness and any ECM motor, you need to remember, do not energize or disconnect the power connector while there's energy flowing into the harness. There's capacitors inside these units that, if they're discharged and you plug a power connector in, will start charging immediately, and there'll be an arc between here and the terminal as those 2 are approaching each other. That arc can damage the connector and can actually shock you. So never plug or unplug them while they're hot. When you are bench testing, remember that without a load of a fan blade or a squirrel cage, this motor will hunt for a speed. It will speed up and slow down like an engine that's got a governor on it that can't find a speed. So don't expect a good test. You can test that the motor runs, but don't expect a nice smooth test without some kind of squirrel cage or fan load. That's power harness number 1.